Life on set is pretty much like life. It's a microcosm of what happens in life. It's a living entity. And throughout this workshop, we're going to be talking about life on set, but I'm going to be introducing you to tools that's going to help you to develop your life on set, but also in life. A film set is a microcosm of life. It's this breathing, living entity. And if you have a look here, just what I've done is I've sort of broken it down to a very abbreviated list of the kind of people that you're going to find on set. Is probably going to be about double that amount of people on set, but it's kind of your ADs and assistants and the DITs. And just what do you see there? What is it that you take out of seeing that list of people on set? Pure potential. You can fit into that however you want to fit into it. If you get to understand more about yourself, what your potential is, who you are, your leadership skills, and that is what the basis of this workshop is about. It is finding your potential both for life on set and life in general. The thing about life is that you can manage through life, or you can lead your way through life. You can take life head on and you can lead your way, foresee the potential pitfalls and see the potential opportunities, and you can mold it into how you want to deal with it and move forward. There's actually 10 traits of successful leaders. There's more than 10 traits, but there's 10 common traits of which I want to talk about. And everything that we talk about here today, the one thing that I want you to think about is, how can I use this for life on set, or whether it's in the production office or on set, but also how can I use it as these tools to move forward in life to achieve your pure potential. And the first thing about a leader is they're accountable. A leader is accountable. You have to be accountable for the decisions that you make in life moving forward. And I just want you, I know we all come from different backgrounds and different histories, but what I would like you to also look at is, today is the starting point. However you move forward is this blank piece of canvas, and you get to use these tools and you get to decide how you want your life to be. Starting off, you can decide whether you're a leader or a manager. So leaders are accountable. They take ownership. They don't really blame. They will take responsibility when things are especially when things are going wrong, as well as things are going right, but they'll normally pass it on to the team. They're adaptable. Life on production has to be adaptable. Stuff arises all the time, and things have to be shifted. The talent's not working, the wind picks up. We have to be adaptable, as is in life. At times you're going to find yourselves in certain positions of which you haven't determined. You have to be adaptable to be able to deal with it. You've got to be aware. And we go into this quite a lot. And awareness is, you've actually got to be aware of who you are as unique individuals, what your strengths are, what your values are, what your talents are. You've also got to be aware, especially life on set and life in general, there's different cultures, there's different values, there's people with different opinions, there's different religious upbringing, and you have to be aware that their opinions are right, or they might not agree, they might not be in agreement with you, but it's their opinions and they're entitled to it. You need to be aware how you are on set, what your behavior is like on set. You can't, might be a lingerie shoot and the talent walks past on a way for coffee, and I've actually seen it, and somebody will pass a lewd comment because there's a woman walking around in sort of like a bra and panties that she hasn't got in the gown yet. So you have to be aware of how you present yourself on set. Do you present yourself as a leader or like a victim or a manager? Leaders are committed. You've got to be committed to seeing out the end result. Production's hard. You're waking up early in the morning. The weather's bleak sometimes. It's not always going well. There's moods, there's emotions, there's opinions that you might not agree with. You've got to be committed to the end result, as in life. Because if you give up on something halfway through and it gets a little bit tough, it's going to set a precedent. It becomes instilled in your memory. So you need to be committed to seeing out the end result. Communicator. You don't have to be a great orator to stand up in front of people and inspire them to move mountains. But as a leader, You need to be able to communicate your message in an effective way, possibly so that everybody gets to understand you. Okay. It's really, really important. And what I mean by that, you can be quiet, you can be shy, but you do have to be able to communicate what you want and the ideas that you want to get across. Confident. Again, you never see leaders walking around like, oh no, please will you just go move that cooler box? Oh no, you know what, don't worry, I'll do it. Own it. You are unique as individuals. You have your own talent, your strengths. We're going to get to that. Own yourself. Nothing has been done by people that have no confidence. And confidence comes from self-understanding, which we're going to get to. Creative. And again, it doesn't mean that you have to be this artist that can do the next big mural or build the next big set. You need to be creative in finding solutions. And that is what a leader does. They are looking for solutions. They're looking for ideas. They're looking for ways to move forward. They are creative in that way, shape, and form. They're not necessarily fantastic authors or photographers or the like. They're decisive. They make decisions, whether they're right or wrong. And I want to tell you a quick story, which I heard the other day. And this is the American military, and I'm not promoting military in any way, shape, or form, but the American military had this decision to make. It was a massive, massive decision that involved billions of dollars. And this decision-making process went on for years and years and years because everybody was too scared to make this decision. And this new ranking officer got promoted to head up this decision-making process. And he called all the chiefs of staff and the generals and all the colonels that were involved in this process, and he got them in a room. And he said, okay, guys, today, and ladies, he said, today we have to make this decision. He said, first of all, I want all your opinions, and then I'll decide from there. And he went around the room, and everybody was a little bit nervous because it was a multi-billion-dollar decision, and he listened to every single person in the room. Came back to him, and he said, okay, we're going for it. Got up, and he walked out. And his PA, his assistant, who was a lieutenant colonel, said to him, sir, I've never seen that before. It's like, how can you make such a massive decision in such a quick amount of time? He said, well, I didn't. I actually listened to different opinions. And then he said, as a leader, I made a decision. And you know what? If it's the wrong decision, we'll know soon enough. And then we'll change it. A decision's not set in stone. Make the decision. Own it, live with it. Be accountable if it's wrong, and change it, if possible. Sure, there's going to be stuff to deal with, but at least you've made the decision and you're not having sleepless nights. Optimistic. You want to be that half glass full kind of person. On set, you're going to get tired. You don't want to be that sad sack sort of walking around. You know, like life's tough, the wind's blowing, the food's cock, you know, the tea's cold. It's like people aren't really going to want to work with you if you're that kind of person. You do need to be optimistic. And then lastly, integrity. Integrity is honesty. But in the greater scheme of things, it's not about having integrity with just money or the likes. It's also about taking on responsibility, where the production manager or somebody knows that if they offer you or they ask you to do something, you are going to do it with integrity. Failure with integrity, people aren't going to trust you. And if you have no trust, you're not going to survive. A talent is something that comes naturally to us, but it becomes a strength when we are able to perform it consistently at a very high level. That is what the difference is. Wade van Niekerk is a talented runner. No doubt about it. He runs the 400 meters, the fastest in the world. But he doesn't just wake up and run the 400 meters and wins every single race. He puts in the hours. He puts in the practice. He puts in the time. He's got dietitians. He's got psychologists. He's got mindfulness coaches. He's got physiotherapists to help him develop his talent into a strength. Yeah. We all have different talents, and we all have different strengths, and it's that, along with our values, makes us unique. And it's the same on set. And this is why it is so important. But before we get there, exploring your interests and being inquisitive widens your options and offers you more variety. Okay? So I just want to go all the way back right to the beginning. And the reason I want to bring up talents and strengths is because many of you are going to get onto set and you're going to start exploring what you want to do. What department you want to go into, who you want to work with, how you want to move up the ladder. Obviously, you're going to be fantastic leaders after this course, so you're going to move up the ladder relatively quickly. But you need to understand what your talents and strengths are as well, because your talents and strengths might fit into one of those departments, and it'll make it more enjoyable. If you are somebody that likes to pick up things and build things and create big structures like in the grips department, but you are not good at maths or you're not good at organizing, production management's probably going to be a little bit more difficult for you than maybe going into the grips department. Okay, so the only thing about talents and strengths is it's hard to identify our own. We can write down our list of talents, what we think, but we're normally very self-critical. So we kind of don't give ourselves enough credit. So one of the ways of doing it is actually speaking to people that you know, your friends and your family, and you say to them, what do you think I'm talented at? What do you think one of my strengths is? Or what do you think my strengths is? And that'll give you a clear understanding. It'll give you a better understanding of who you are. All of this, which we've gone through, your opinions, your values, your talents, your strengths, all the exercises we've done, the aim of that was to get you to understand that you are this unique individual. You have talents, you have strengths, you have values, you have something to offer the world. One of the common traits of a leader is their ability to set and pursue personal goals, not organizational goals. The ability to set and pursue goals, not necessarily achieve goals. They set and pursue goals. 99% of the time, a good leader will reach a desired outcome, but they take the time down to plan what it is they want, and then they break it down so that they can achieve this goal. And this is what this whole section is going to be about. It's going to be about goal setting. Production is a goal. It's this dream. It starts over, and I'm just using a scenario, so you're going to be working on a German car commercial. The dream starts back in Germany, however many months or years ago. The creative team get this idea. We want to create this concept of a car with a cabriolet driving along a road on a cliff overlooking the ocean, beautiful couple with their little peachy dog in the back, not speaking on their cell phones, but listening to the GPS, listening to the music, all lovey-dovey. That is the dream. That's what they want to create. All that happens then is that has to get broken down into bite-sized chunks so that we can get to the starting point. And as I've always said, life on set is a microcosm of life. If I can make any suggestion to you now, it's to start setting goals for yourself, no matter how big or how small. We're going to go through the process. And the reason is because it gives you direction. What do you want to do on set? What do you want to become on set? What do you want to have in 5 years' time? Explore the different departments on set. I know you can't chop and change all the time, but you might start off as a runner and all of a sudden you see something that the grips are doing or something that props is doing and you like what's going on. Start to ask questions. Start to spend time with those people to get a clearer understanding of, is it in line with your values? Is it in line with your talents? Is it in line with your strengths? But you have to is a strong word. I would like you to start deciding what you want it is from the film set. Maybe it's not even to work in the film industry. Maybe after being on set twice, you realize that you don't like it. That's fine. At least you've gone through a process of elimination. Hopefully you are going to be there. Hopefully you're going to be the next great directors and producers and the likes, if that's what you want. One of the ways to answer that is to decide, why do you want it? And the why is as important as the what, because the why becomes the emotive driver. If you decide to set a goal and you decide to pursue it, which you're gonna, because you're all leaders, the going's gonna get tough at times. You're gonna face rejection, you're gonna face criticism, you're gonna face obstacles, and you're gonna face challenges. It's not the what that's gonna get you through the tough times, it's the why. It doesn't matter what the why is. If it's to be rich, it's fine. If it's to be famous, it's fine. If it's to be recognized, it's fine. The important thing is that it has to be big. It's got to be big enough to get you through the tough times. When people aren't answering your phone calls and people aren't getting to your emails and it seems like you're hitting your head against a wall. And thirdly, you need to decide, by when do you want to achieve what you want to achieve? And the reason is because you have to put a deadline to it. If you don't put a deadline to it, it's just going to be this continuous thing in the future. No, I'm going to get to it tomorrow, I'll get to it next week, I'll get to it in a couple of days' time. If you put a deadline, it becomes a measurable objective. You can gauge your progress. Also, it has to fit into your very busy lives, which we're going to get to a little bit later, because we have busy lives. You've got life on set, you've got life at college or whatever, you've got life with your family. Whatever you want to achieve, you're going to have to allocate time to. So there's a thing called SMART goals. And it's all, like I said, it's all in your manual. Your goals need to be specific. What exactly is it that you want? Because once you know exactly what it is you want, your mind will do everything in its power to help you achieve it. Is it measurable? Can you measure your progress? Is it attainable? Do you believe that you can achieve your goal? Is it relevant to you or your values or your talents? And lastly, is it time-bound? Is it measurable? A production is everything there. It is specific. The production company knows exactly what it's got to do within the X amount of days to achieve the goal. It's measurable. They can see what's happening according to the call sheet, almost on an hourly basis. It's attainable. They've sat down. They know that they can achieve the production, whatever, within X amount of time. It's relevant. They've got to do the production. It's what the client want, and it's time-bound. So that's SMART goals. Answer those questions, and it'll give you a very clear understanding of how you're going to achieve what you want to achieve. The next crucial part of you achieving your goal is belief. And there are 3 types of belief needed for you to achieve your goal. Failure in any one of these beliefs to be part of your goal-setting process will result in distraction, procrastination, and complete disengagement. And the first one is belief that your goal is achievable. Whatever you write down on that paper before the break under what it is you want to achieve, you have to believe that it is achievable. Only you and your team. There are going to be people that are going to tell you that you can't achieve your goals for whatever reason. You're not good enough, you're not talented enough, you're too lazy, whatever. Stay away from those people. Whatever you want to achieve in life, you have to believe that you can achieve it. You have to believe that you can acquire the knowledge to achieve the goal. If you want to be a director on a set within 5 years' time, you have to know that you can learn what it takes to become a director. Because if you don't think that you can learn about it, you're not going to want to achieve it. I just want to tell you a bit of a story, and that is, for those of you, I'm sure you know, the Wright brothers, they invented the first flying craft. They imagined this craft that would fly through the air back in 1899 or something like that, okay? And they went about building this flying craft. But these guys were bicycle manufacturers. And they couldn't, they encountered a couple of challenges. One of the challenges was they couldn't work out the correct angle to connect the wings to the fuselage to create enough lift to get this aircraft off the ground. Now, just think at the time, it was 1899, 1900. They couldn't Google the answer. They couldn't phone an aeronautical engineer to find out how it was done. They couldn't wander down to a local airfield and see how aeroplanes were being built. They were busy building the first flying craft. Through trial and error, they acquired the knowledge. They made mistakes. They overcame challenges. They creatively sought solutions to work out how these wings needed to be attached. We now fly to space using the same principles that the Wright brothers first imagined and acquired the knowledge to. And the last belief, do you believe that you are good enough to achieve your goals? I believe that self-belief is the most valuable commodity on the planet today. It's worth more than all the gold, all the diamonds, all the money in the bank. And I tell you why. Because if you have self-belief, you'll achieve anything you set your mind to. You know, I said it earlier. It's been said that if we spoke to other people the way we speak to ourselves, we wouldn't have any friends. Because we beat ourselves up continuously. I did this wrong. I'm not good enough at that. But we very, very seldom take the time out to acknowledge the small things that we've done, because we do a lot of good small things on a day-to-day basis. And that's the development of self-belief, is to believe even that the small things are good enough, that we are good enough. Because if you don't have self-belief when it comes to pursuing your goals, how can you expect anybody to help you along your journey, or to believe in you enough to help you along your journey? One of the reasons many of us give up on our goals is because we're not sure of how we're going to get to the end result. We have this goal or this dream. I want to be the next Steven Spielberg or big director or big astronaut or like, and we're not sure of how we're going to get there. But the secret to this is that we don't actually need to know how to get there. We don't. We need to know what the first step is. All we need to do is we need to identify the first step. Steve Jobs, in one of his very famous talks, he talks about connecting the dots. And he says that in creating Apple, he wasn't sure of how he was going to connect the dots to the end result, but when he had created Apple, he was able to see how the dots connected. So all you've got to do is you've got to look for this first dot. You've already written down what it is you want, written positively and in the present tense. You've already written down by when do you want to achieve this goal, and you've already written down when I must, well, you haven't, but you're going to write down when am I starting on this goal. Now, when I say that, it's not I'm going to maybe start on Thursday. You're going to be specific. It's going to be the date and possibly the time, okay, of when you're going to start on your goal, because you've got to put it down on a piece of paper. Okay. How will you know when you've reached your goal? Whatever you've written, how will you know? If it's obviously, it's something that you want to buy within 30 days, you'll know that when you've reached it because it will be in your possession. But it might be something, it might be an experience of fitting into tighter jeans. So how will you know when you've reached the goal? My pants will close and there won't be any tightness, or if you know what I mean, if you want to get fitter, I can run 5 kilometers in 4 minutes instead of 5.5 minutes. So you write down what is the physical experience. And what you're doing here is you're bringing your mind into this goal setting process. And the mind, I keep repeating it, but it's this really big part of achieving goals. We have to get our mind attached to it. Okay? What qualities do I need? What do you need to do? What do you need to achieve your goal? You need perseverance, you need motivation, you need to learn a skill, you need to be disciplined. What qualities do you need to achieve your goal? What resources do you have available to you? If you're not sure of how you're going to get to your goal, you can Google steps. You can email me. You'll have my email address at the end. I'm more than happy to answer questions along your journey. Along your journey, there's going to be a question: how will you reward yourself and when? If later on in life, when you start setting yourself long goals, the steps between your achievements or the smaller goals sometimes might be long, and you might lose enthusiasm and you might lose motivation. You need to put little rewards into your journey to keep you going to the next step. And the rewards can be anything: buy yourself a magazine, download a movie, hang out with your mates, go to a shopping mall, go for a surf, whatever. Just reward yourself along the journey, because after all, it's that thing about patting yourself on the back. We are good enough. Whether you achieve something big or small, just take the time out to acknowledge what you've done. There's things that you don't do on set. Stay off your cell phones. As a production manager, people are on their cell phones and I want them to do something, or they like downloading YouTube or whatever. It freaks me out completely. There's going to be downtimes on set. There's lunchtime. There's times when things between shots where it's a little bit quieter and there's nothing for you to do. Do it then. Stay off your cell phones. Hierarchy. You're not going to comment to the director on how you think the shot should be if you are one of the runners or even the grips. I don't think. You're not going to tell the producer how much money you think she needs to spend on this, or you're not going to be walking. The model's going to walk past in a nice dress. You're not going to be slapping on the behind and telling her how nice she looks. Okay, it's about awareness. It's about how you want to be perceived. You want to be perceived as leaders because you want to get booked again. The more you buy into the leadership tools that we've gone through, the more indispensable you're going to become. The more often you're going to be working with the same teams over and over again, which is the great scenario, because you know the people and you have fun with them. The last point is that, so this is what I've said, what life has on set. It's a living entity. There are agendas, egos, opinions. It has a hierarchy structure. It works towards a common goal. It has to get a job done in the time allocated. It's on the move. You have to behave accordingly. It moves through cycles. It has to operate from a solutions point. It has to remain positive. It has to prioritize. Most importantly, it has you. Don't sell yourself short, guys. You guys are the next. Your dreams are our future. You're the next directors. You're the next big line producer and the executive producers. It's you guys that is our future. Believe in yourselves. You've got these talents. You've got these passions. You've got the SA Film Academy to help you along your journey. Embrace it and own it, and just move forward and do as absolutely best that you can do, and learn tools that can help you to develop to become better leaders.